In this video, I'm going to show a little extra gadget. I got a triple camera cable for the Teslong inspection camera, and I'm going to go to breakfast, meet some friends for breakfast. I'm going to take the Bel Air, so you're going to get a cold start. But when we get back, we'll see if we can see a couple of the valves. We'll pull maybe one or two spark plugs and just, yeah, I'm not going to pull all 8 again. And we'll take a look at the, see if we can see the valves with the side view camera and maybe poke around some other things. That inspection camera has been a lot of fun. It's really good. Really like the camera. So anyway, let me get the Bel Air going, and it's kind of it's 32 degrees out and kind of gloomy, and they're predicting snow this evening, but I don't think that we're going to get any precipitation between now and about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I'm going to take the Bel Air, just give it one little run here. So we'll do a cold start for you here. Yeah, it's a little dark in here. I haven't put the garage door up yet, nor have I turned the garage lights off, but once to the floor, make sure it's in neutral. Let's see what it does. All right, let's turn the heat on. I'm going to turn the heat lever down to all the way hot, but I'm not going to turn the fan on until that temperature gauge comes up a little bit. All right, let me get going and we'll go have some breakfast. Okay, we got the car out of the garage. You can see, yeah, it's kind of a gray, nasty sky, and it's kind of cool out. But anyway, let's get going here. I'll give you a little video from the dash cam here shortly. There you can kind of see the heater controls. I got it on full temperature with the fan on medium. I just turned the fan on. The temperature gauge is up to operating temperature now. Well, we're going to turn into Haney's here. That's where I'm going for breakfast. This is where Tom does the gardens. This is a 1959 Howard Johnson. And I'm going to park in the way in the back, 'cause that's what I do. Well, getting ready to head back after breakfast here. This beautiful December day. All right, let's get going. So this on the right is GM. I think it used to be a transmission assembly plant or transmission plant of some type, and now it's going to be electric cars, something to do with batteries or building electric cars in a design center. And on the left is Chrysler Corporation, Chrysler plant. So yeah, we're on 9 Mile going west coming on to Mount. The Chrysler plant is a stamping plant. It's called Warren Stamping. Yeah, the heater cranks in this car cooking. I'm going to open the wing a little bit and turn the fan down. Open that vent window. It helps a little cooler air. That's one thing with these old cars, the heaters did look good in them. Alright, we are back. So as I stated in the beginning of the video, Teslong sent me this too. I just got it yesterday evening, and it's got 3 cameras on the tip. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So hopefully we can see the valves in the 348. Now, as you saw, I just pulled in the garage, so we got a pretty warm engine here, so I'm going to let it cool down a little bit before I go pulling plugs on it. It's right on 32 degrees outside, and that says, now it's been sitting here for a minute or two, it says 207, 208 right at the thermostat. It's probably heat soaked a little bit. 178. It's got a 180 thermostat in the thermostat housing. So we'll let her cool down a little bit, and then we'll pull a plug. In the meantime, maybe we'll try it on some other things. I want to let this, I just don't want to burn myself pulling a plug and shoving a camera into a hot cylinder, so that's why I'm going to let it cool down. And for my non-US viewers, let's see if we can get it in Celsius. There, that's Celsius. It's all about the same on the engine now. It's been shut off for about 10 minutes. Now, mind you that this is only this cable assembly. You have to still have this. You have to buy the model. That's the model number. It's MS450-NTC to use this on this camera cable. That is the camera there that's front facing, and you can see a little button there that changes the camera. So when you push this. There, now I'm on this side camera. Push it again, and I'm on the other side camera. And push it again, and I'm on the front camera. So let's see what we can do while the engine cools in the Bel Air to play with this thing a little bit. So we'll do a little demo. I shoved it down in the oil fill on the truck. Let's do a little demo on how this thing works. Now you're going to see the timing gear, which is underneath this cover. So there's where the camera is, and there's where the timing gear is. And we'll see what we can see of the rest of the valve train behind. We'll just kind of see what we can see in there. So that is one view. And I'll record some video for you. That's the timing chain and gear and stuff. Another view. Back to the original view. All right, I'll record some video for you guys from that. So that is just looking straight down into the oil fill. Probably one of the cam lobes right there. Let's change the camera view. Yep, that's the timing chain, the top of the valve cover. Let's go with the other camera view. There we go. I'm just kind of moving it around while I'm looking at the screen. So I have no idea what I'm videoing. That's the top of the valve cover. I think there's just too much stuff in the engine to get much that way, so. And again, there's the timing chain. Alright, so there's a little look through the valve oil fill hole on the F-150. The engine's cooled down enough to where I can get the plugs out. I pulled the front plug out on the right hand cylinder head. This is the one we're going to take a look at the valves. So I just wanted to show the plug again. It doesn't look like it's leaking around the plug now that the plugs are tight in the head. That one was one that was leaking pretty bad around it because it was like finger tight. But anyway, let's get the Teslong camera with the side view. I think this camera kit with this hard like this antenna lead thing, which is really nice. Look, I'll put a link to my past video, and I'll put a link to this and the triple lens cable in the description. This kit with this was about 120 bucks, I think. And these are about 60 bucks for this triple lens doohickey here. And I think that's for as quality of the photos you get and video you get with this thing, I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, yeah, it's just really a good little camera. I'm super happy with it. And by the way, this thing comes with couple things for the tip like the other one too, a little hook and a little magnetic thing, just like this one came with it too. All right, let's look and see if we can see the valves in the 348. The head's milled flat, that's why you saw them in the 283, but you didn't see them in the 348. The piston comes up like this, but the block is milled like so. So the combustion chamber is in the block and the head's milled 100% totally flat. So yeah, it's hard to see the valves in these engines with one of these borescopes without one of these side view cameras. So let's shove it in there and see what we got. So again, you can see the piston and a bit of the combustion chamber in the block there where it's carbony. And let's change the camera. Let's see, I think we're looking at the cylinder wall there. That's actually the combustion chamber there. There's where the piston travel ends. And that is actually the cylinder wall. That's a really good view of the cylinder wall. Again, where the combustion chamber, you can see where the ring's in and where the piston tops off there, and then you can see the carbon on the combustion chamber. You can see a little bit of the parting surface right there in the bottom right corner. All right, let's change the camera again. There we go. There's the valves. One of them anyway. I think that's the intake. I don't know if I can get it over to see the exhaust. Let me pull it out and bend this thing a little bit. There, I turned the camera a bit. You can clearly see that exhaust valve now. Chunk of carbon or so, or that might be the edge of the spark plug hole, but and again the cylinder wall where the piston ends. The valves are in really nice shape. Maybe I won't have to overhaul this engine anytime soon. This thing's in good shape. I don't run a lead additive in it or anything. Yeah, I'm pleased to see that. They're not hammered out or in rough shape or anything. They look nice. super happy with that. I'm just going to add this to the video too. I also videoed the timing chain with the side view camera in the Bel Air. As you can see, it has a steel gear. Somebody has done a timing chain in the engine in the past. Now, mind you, this, was old when I bought it, this car. And, so some previous owners, that engine could have had some preventative maintenance done on it back in the day. That's what you did to these old cars is, you put a timing chain and gears in them because they're a nylon gear and they would wear out and people would change them as preventative maintenance and usually put a steel gear in. And the reason why the manufacturer used a nylon gear is they were quieter. And now, I bet you $100 if you put in two engines together, one with a nylon and one with a steel gear, you're not going to hear the difference. But they are quieter, the nylon gears, and that's why the manufacturers did use them, because if they quiet every little thing they can down, it does make the engine quieter. It's kind of like they can cut the cost a fraction of a cent here and a fraction of a cent there. It adds up, when you produce millions of cars, that nickel or dime that they might have saved building that car adds up to a significant amount of money. So that's just, the bottom line is the auto industries manufacture cars to make a profit, not to make them, last a million miles, which they wouldn't make any money if they did that either. So, they make them to last 100,000 miles and that's it. So anyway, that little bit will be in here too. I got out the power brake booster that was giving me trouble with the Bel Air, and we're going to take a look at it. That would be the bottom. You can see a little rust in there. That's where the reaction disc was, which I reused in the master cylinder I rebuilt for it because I didn't have another reaction disc nor a push rod. So the push rod came out of it too. Let's change the camera view here. And there we're looking at the bottom of the brake booster. Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, a little bit of glue there. I don't think that would cause it might have been sticky causing the brakes not to release. Let's look at the top of the booster. Yeah, I don't think the issue was can on the booster. You can see when I push on it, it does retract properly. So I don't think that was the cause. I think it's a vacuum issue in the valves. I'll get a rebuild kit for this and I'll rebuild it for a spare booster. I got this old Chevy heater core, and let's see how plugged up this thing is. See if we can't well, obviously, yeah, that's the tank. Looks like there's a bug or something in it right there. Let's take a camera change here. That would be the tank. I guess I need to turn the camera a bit. Okay, that's the core. Surprisingly, it's not all plugged up. You're looking down one of the tubes for the heater core there. There's another one. I'm astounded this thing isn't just all completely blacked up. This is out of a parts car that had sat in the field for probably 30 or 40 years. It's kind of neat seeing this is the water valve side, so you're not going to see the change the camera view here. Yeah, that's just think you're looking down. Let's see if we can see the... Yeah, I can't get beyond the curve to see the water valve, sorry. That being the... Oops, got some stuff on the camera lens there. That being the water valve right here. That's the tube I was shoving it down. So yeah, I can't make that bend there to get into that tube. Anyway, yeah, it's out of a 59 Chevy. Well, I'm laying under the car in an awkward way. We're going to look in the diff. You can see it's definitely full. Spider gears sitting in the gear oil. And we're going to change the camera again. I'm looking up. There you're looking back at the spider gears. That's the gear oil you're looking at. Let me see if I can turn the camera a little bit here. See if we can't get the ring gear. Oops, I'm going in too far. I just got the camera. Yeah, I can't get underneath the car and work the camera, so we're going to call that one good. But again, you can see the... I don't know if I can get right in there and get the side of the spider gears or not. That's the shaft. There we go. That's one of the side view cameras. Review. That's the axle shaft right there, coming into the spider gear. Alright, this thing's dripping gear oil on the floor. So as you can see, I'm laying on the ground. You can see my reflection in the bumper behind the Chevy, and we're going to find a little hole here in the frame rail, shove it inside the frame to see how it looks. There's still black in there. I think that's the bottom of the rail, and that's the top of the rail, or vice versa. No, that's the top, because there's no bolt holes like that in the bottom. And again, that's looking straight down the rail. So if you're looking to buy an old car and you want to look at the condition of the inside of the frame, and quite a ways in there too. This is, it's getting up towards a bend in the frame where it goes towards the front of the car. Let me show you. Well, it's not going to show up under here, but quite a ways up there anyway, take my word for it. I should make another channel just showing videos from this camera. It's kind of neat. Inside of the frame's actually pretty clean. Cleaner than what I expected to see it. You know, this car's, what, 63 going on 64 years old. It was built in August of 59. So yeah, it's getting up in the years. But anyway, yeah, so good way to look at things on. This is the right hand frame rail, and usually the right hand side of cars are worse because it's the curb side, to where usually it's always sloppy and wet in the winter and after rains and stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to show Yeah, that's the bottom of the frame rail. And that's, no, I take that back, that's the side. That's the right side of the right frame rail. And that's the left side of the right frame rail. And then that's, again, the other side, and then looking straight down it. This is the left frame rail. Looks like at one time there was a nest in there, doesn't it? Wonder how long that's been there. Oops, that was the other side. Have to get something, try and clean that out. Body bolt or something there. Well, that's the exhaust hanger bolt. Yeah, there's some junk in this frame rail, needs to be cleaned out. You have to get the vacuum, and some rodent or something lived in there at one time. No doubt about that. Probably because, you know, it has a big enough hole there to get into. That's big enough for me to get in there and clean that out too. So get something, a hose on a vacuum. I can see where the rust is peeled away just from the light without the camera right there. I'll just have to, I can reach in there and scrape that. This is looking from that little hole in the rear. Yeah, definitely something built a nest in there at one time. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Well, we'll clean that out this winter. That'll be one of our projects this winter, is there's that hole I was originally poking through. That was when this car had air shocks for the airlines. Yeah, at one time somebody put air shocks in. I purchased this car on March 12th, 1978, so it was a 19-year-old car when I bought it. So, you know, I don't know exactly, you know, everything that was done. I did buy it from the family. The original owner had passed away, and it was a friend of mine in high school. His father inherited the car, and then, you know, like I say, in auto shop class, we were talking, and I was saying I wanted a 59 Chevy, and they all thought I was nuts. Why would I want a big old car like that? You know, this was in 1978. It was just an old car nobody wanted. And you know, they were all wanting Camaros, Z28s, and Firebirds, and, you know, go fast cars. I wanted an old Chevy, and they just thought I was just insane. But I always loved them. And my friend said that his dad had just inherited one from his father, or it would be his grandfather, that I was in auto shop class with. So yeah, his dad inherited it. And so I told him, see if he wanted to sell it. He said he did. He wanted 150. I went over and looked at it, offered him $75, and he took it. So that's purchasing, you know. And again, it was just an old car then. Nobody wanted a car like this in 1978, a 19-year-old car that, you know, they were just not desirable. So yeah, you could get them ultra cheap. But now I look back, you know, I used to see convertibles, a couple $100 that were drivable, and station wagons, and, you know, hindsight, if I look back, if I'd bought all those 59 Chevys and tucked them away somewhere, I'd be a millionaire right now. So even the parts cars I bought were, back in the day, you know, they're still, you know, somewhat, I mean, you know, what I see people restore today, they're restorable, but back then, no. There were parts cars, but in today's standards, somebody would have restored them. But that's just, you know, the error. So there you go. You got to see a few things with this camera too. This is the triple camera, and plugged into the Teslong. This is the one that came with it, and I'll probably use this one the most. Like I say, this thing extends out like an antenna. And so, you know, you can, standing on the ground, get up into high places and stuff. is I do home inspections, and sometimes like that, you know, one where there was a flat roof house with a hole in the ceiling from a water leak, and there was no access other than shoving something like this up in there to look, see if there was mold or anything, in which there was not. So this has its absolute good purpose, but this does too. As you saw, we could see the valves in the 348, and you know, I'll probably be playing with this thing a lot, and when I record and play with it, I'll put some videos up on my channel of different things I look at. It's just kind of fun to look into things and see the condition. You could see the inside of the engine on the F150 was quite clean. I changed oil in it every 3,000 miles or 1 year, and lately it's been 1 year and it's had less than 3,000 miles on it. And that's the one thing, the least expensive thing you can do to a vehicle to make them last is change the oil on them. You know, these people will let their oil go for 10 years. Yeah, that's, or 10,000 miles, I mean. Yeah, it's great if you're, you know, leasing or turning in your car every couple of years or whatever. Who cares, you know? But if you're going to drive it into the ground, put a couple, 200,000-300,000 miles on your car, change the oil and you'll get that trouble-free use out of it without it using or leaking oil or anything. You know, you saw how clean the inside of that engine was. And it's definitely, I should find a engine, somebody that doesn't change their oil, and show you the difference. It's just amazing. That's the first thing I look at when I look at used cars or something for people, or look at projects. Look at the inside of the engine. If it's sludged up, they didn't change the oil. If they didn't change the oil, they didn't wash it, they didn't wax it. You know, it's a reflection of how the car is taken care of. If somebody keeps their oil changed, generally they take care of their car pretty well. So it's always the first thing I look at when I buy used cars or look at a car, is the condition of the engine, the inside of the engine, if the oil's been changed or not. That's a major key. Doesn't matter how many miles the odometer says. It's more matters of how the vehicle is maintained. I've seen cars with 30,000, 40,000 miles that have just been nightmares because they're short-tripped and weren't maintained. And I've seen cars with 200,000, 300,000 miles that run beautifully and are trouble-free because they're maintained. And that has a lot to do with it. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to end the video here. If you like it, hit that like button. If you want to subscribe, that 348 engine icon will pop up there and you can hit that and subscribe. And thank you for watching another one of my videos on these cameras, which are actually kind of fun.